don't forget that energy, vibrations, and frequencies are the most important things on this planet. Be careful who you share them with.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Be careful who you share them with. What is the thing or things that you've had to quit in order to become successful?
I certainly had to quit
Thinking it was too
the
big.
person that I was to get here. Being afraid that I was going to make mistakes. I quickly learned that the road to success is paved with failure.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of Successful Quitters, a podcast that highlights the things individuals have had to quit in order to become successful in their arena. Today, I have a very strong man, very strong-minded and also physically strong. He has been an entrepreneur, and he retired at the age of 24 after selling patents for $150 million. He's invested in hundreds of businesses, and he's taken the role of being part of the business actively for about 16 businesses himself. Nowadays, he has his new coaching endeavor, right?
Correct.
By the name of Fearless, and this will teach men how to maximize their potential by helping them step into their king power. Welcome,
Correct.
Ben Azoulay.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yeah, very good. You're one of the only ones.
I tried it a couple of times to make sure because last names are so important.
Yeah, but it's because you're Latin, that's why.
Yeah.
Americans can't pronounce my name.
I agree.
Yeah, Azoulay. But good job.
Ben, you are also known as King Azoulay,
Correct.
which is very nice. I want to be able to take our listeners and viewers back to your beginnings. So I want to take them back to where you were 5 years old. Where were you at and what was life back then like?
Wow, so at 5 years old, I was a little blonde kid, long hair, playing in Israel. Everything was easy, simple. Life was beautiful. I had 18 dogs.
18 dogs?
Yeah. I had 4 or 5 snakes all the time.
Wow.
I had tarantulas, scorpions. I've had everything. I loved animals. For me, that was life. Animals and nature. So my parents had me live in a place that pretty much you have like a forest behind the house. And that's where I would run all the time, hang out. At the age of 6, my parents gave me a phone because they couldn't find me. And
At the age of 6?
Yeah.
To only call them, I'm assuming.
Correct, yes. So they could call me. Because when I would leave the house, they don't know when I'm coming back. Then they'd find me like at the highest mountain or the tallest tree.
Well,
And it
that
was
seems
crazy.
that seems to be the beauty of growing up in the era that we grew up in, right? Where we
Yes.
can actually be outside with friends and play without being online on our tablets, on our phones.
Yeah, also there was no fear, All the friends, everybody in the neighborhoods were playing together. I could just walk into my friend's house. There's no issues. Not worrying, if somebody's going to kidnap you or somebody's going to do something to you.
For sure.
Everybody's like family. It's a community.
Yeah. And did you have siblings back then?
Yeah. I had one sister
Okay.
and a little brother that was just born. I was born in the United States, but my mom brought me here through Mexico so she could have me here so I could have a U.S. passport. Then we went back to Israel. And the reason is because one of my uncles, him and his brother, used to work with Pablo Escobar. They used to sell drugs for him. My family didn't know about it, but when we arrived, my uncle got kidnapped. And then the other uncle got murdered.
Oh my.
So we went back to Israel. And then we came back when my brother was born, which was 3.5 years later.
And this is your uncle on your father's side or your
Yeah,
father?
yeah.
Your father's side. And you went back to Israel?
Went back to Israel. And then we came back here when I was 3.5 years old. My brother was born, and then we went back again to Israel. And my dad was kind of like an inventor, troublemaker. So we kind of traveled the world. We lived in Amsterdam. And when I was 5, 6 years old, I was living back in Israel. And it was a beautiful place, like a forest, nice community, had a lot of animals. At the age of 10, my parents decided we were going to come to the U.S.
And I wanted to just make a quick comment. We'll go back to that. But it's so interesting. I love exploring that age where you're like 5, 6, 7, because your parents or the people that surround you have such strong impact. Like you're saying, my father was an inventor. He was this, he was that. And some things at the end of the day reflect on how you become, what you become in life later on.
My dad was a very tough individual.
Yeah.
Very tough. I mean, we couldn't move next to my dad. My dad raised his voice, everybody pissed in the house. That's how scary he was. Even until today, if my dad raises his voice, I get a shock through my heart, although I know he can't do anything to me.
Yeah.
But it's just memories, you know?
Because that's when I think that, you know how we always say, when you have different partners, all your experiences make you who you are. I think those experiences play a big role. However, I think the biggest role, that the strongest part is that age when you were little, and the things that happened to you and the things that hurt you, and those things make you become and react the way you react when you're older.
From the time that you're 0 till the time that you're 7, you're in a state called theta. Theta is a state of hypnosis. Your brain doesn't really know what's real and what's not. It has to build the subconscious. The subconscious mind gets built and developed through those 7 years. And in that time, that's how you know what's real and what's not. Then you become conscious of what's around you. But it's the program that was built in those 7 years.
Which is extremely powerful, because you don't think about it. I see a lot of parents, when they're raising kids, it's like, you think, oh, when they're older, I'm going to really correct them, or I'm going to really teach them things. But it's the first, 7 years.
The first 7 years are the most important years of your life.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the time that Jews, religious ones, the religious Jews, they don't put their kids in school till they're about 6. Because a child, when you leave him at school, like preschool, kindergarten, at the age of 3, even though you leave him there and he's happy, he feels neglected. Later on in life, he's going to look for love.
Wow.
So you don't want to neglect your child. So I won't put my child in school until probably he's going to be 6.
Yeah. That's interesting. And then you were in the U.S. back in the
Yeah, we came to the U.S. when I was 10. I didn't speak a word in English.
Yeah.
I didn't want to learn English. My dad put us in an apartment. We came from Israel. We used to live in a 3-story house.
Yeah.
I had my own room. I had my own balcony. I had a huge yard. Came here, 2-bedroom apartment. He stuffed me there with my little brother. Fights all day. I want to go back to Israel. But my mom felt like there might be a war that's going to start.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to stay in Israel.
And what was that age? I came when I was 14 from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So I can relate, like sitting around a table and not knowing what they're talking about, because I didn't speak any English. So what was it like to go to school? One of my siblings came at that age. So what was it for you? What was it like to go to school and not know the language?
I didn't know the language. And it sucked because one of the kids that spoke Hebrew and English, he would pretend that he's explaining to me what it is that they're saying, and he would lie to me. And he would make me say words and sentences that were horrible.
I'm pretty sure that happens to a lot of people.
And then my teacher, Miss Linton, who I can never forget, my first teacher, she was African-American. She's my height now, like 6 feet. She's got tats everywhere, dreadlocks, and I was a little boy. And she would yell at me, and I would get so scared because she was so tough. And, in Israel, you don't really see African-American people or African at all.
Yeah.
So it was like so new to me. And also people there don't really have tattoos or dreadlocks, So it was new to me. Or a very tall woman. I was like, whoa, like who is this? And she's making me do homework. But thanks to her, I learned how to speak English because I feared her. I was literally scared to come to class.
How crazy is that a child has to go through so much pressure?
It was crazy.
It's terrible. But also it makes you the strong man that you are. It's part of it, no?
Yes. Men thrive under pressure just like diamonds.
Yeah.
We die under comfort. So just like diamond that's thriving and growing under pressure, that's the same thing as men.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important what a woman has been through before when you meet her, and it's not so important what a man has been through before, because men become stronger with all the problems that they've had. But women become weaker. They're not supposed to go through so much trauma. But men become stronger. And that's also why someone's background really matters, whether it's a man or a woman. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
But men that don't have any pressure, you see them, they're very weak men.
So you think women that have gone through a lot are weaker?
It weakens them, correct? It makes them, because the trauma, as a woman, you come to this world pure. And you need to stay pure. And the more problems if you had from your parents, or if you saw your parents fighting, or if your parents were tough on you, it will hurt your heart for the rest of your life. And a man kind of goes through it and becomes stronger.
Yeah.
And the men that don't go through these things and are very spoiled by their parents, then you see they're weak men. Most of them smoke weed. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. And it's hard.
I think that when it comes to women, once you've gone through a lot, because I have gone through a lot myself, especially being an immigrant, but like everything else as a woman, I think that it just makes it hard for you to allow a man to protect you.
Right.
So you're like on the lookout until that man is strong enough, so strong that you can trust.
Yeah.
So other women that haven't gone through much, it's like the guy shows up and wants to be part of your life and you're not worried if that guy is going to protect you or not.
Correct.
But women that have been through a lot just, are being more picky.
Yeah.
So, and that's
married?
bad. No.
You need an extremely masculine man
Right.
because you're very strong.
Yeah.
Your walk is strong. The way you speak, the way you look, it's a strong look. You need a very masculine man for you to fall into your feminine energy.
Right.
But it's very hard for you to let that go because masculinity is essential for survival. So when women don't have a masculine man, they go into their masculine energy in order to survive.
Yeah.
Men don't go into their feminine energy to survive. You need masculinity. But the problem is that a lot of men don't have masculinity today. And now it became toxic masculinity, which makes women weaker because a man that's not masculine and he dates you, he traumatizes you.
I mean, it's a thing where nowadays, what I'm trying to say is I am not available to protect men. That's not my role to protect them. It's the other way around. So if I have to be in that situation, I'd rather not put myself there.
Of course, because then you're going to have to be a mommy.
Yes.
And you don't have time for that.
I do not have the will to do that.
No time for that.
So you went to high school afterwards. And how was high school like? Now you spoke a little bit of English.
Yes, I did middle school, then I went to high school.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of many schools.
Oh.
I was fighting all the time.
Yeah.
Because my dad was a strong man and very tough on us, with me, he also used hands.
Yeah.
So I always fought back. So if somebody said something to me, I said something back, which means if he wants to hit me, I'm going to protect myself and then I'm going to hit him harder. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't the right choice, but I made it.
Yeah.
But it was very difficult in school because then I ended up fighting everybody.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of many schools. Eventually, the only school that I made it in was a school that was full of kids that were mentally challenged. They put me in that school and they said, maybe he'll do better here. Wow. So I became like the papa of everybody. Because if somebody's mentally challenged, I'm not going to fight with him.
Yeah.
He can say anything he wants. I just say, look, I'm sorry. That's when I learned to turn that the other way. When they put me in a school like that where everybody were kind of challenged and having a hard time. Yeah. And I started helping them. And then after that, I just dropped out of school. And I was about 15. That was because my mom had cancer. And she needed somebody to be there to support her. Also, my dad had a broken back. He was on a wheelchair. And my grandpa got stroke, was on a wheelchair as well. And we brought him from Israel. So sadly, I had a house that was with two people who I had to carry on a wheelchair. And one mom that was going through chemo. And my mom lost all of her hair. So I went and I shaved my head too. And started losing her hair on her eyebrows. So I shaved my eyebrows as well.
Yeah. What and this is for parents that might be watching this. How do you feel if your father hit you when you were younger? Are moments within you that you still remember that still hurt you nowadays? Or is it you think it's already... I know that you've transformed it into something powerful, but
Yeah.
we're all human at the end of the day, and we have hearts, whether you're male or female. So is there a place that still hurt?
I wouldn't say it hurts anymore, but it hurt for a while as I was still young. I didn't speak to my dad for about 7 years. And in that time, I healed myself, understanding that he did the best he can to raise me.
Yeah.
He wasn't born and given a manual on how to raise a child. His dad beat him way worse than he beat me. So he did his best. What I could tell people now is I could say, look, your child getting hit is good, but not by you. Put him in jiu-jitsu, put him in karate, put him in kung fu, put him in kickboxing, wherever. So he gets to challenge himself with other boys. Boys need to be boys.
Yeah.
He needs to feel the push and the pull, but not from the parent.
I love that. Yeah.
So it's not bad getting hit, but it's bad getting hit by your parent, because that will suppress you. I'm sure that I would have thrived even more if I wasn't suppressed.
Yeah.
But I didn't come out as a survivor. I came out as a warrior. You have to look at things differently in life. Yeah. It's very easy to say, I'm a victim. I survived this. I need to see a psychologist. I need to be on medication. Or hit the fucking gym. Get in there. Push weight. Go for a run. Eat good. Hike a little bit. Go by the water. You'll feel great.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to be a victim. The only person that feels a victim is the person who victimizes themselves.
Yeah.
Nobody makes you into a victim.
Yeah. And I think this also applies for women, because a lot of times a lot of women will say, I'm a domestic violence survivor, I'm a this or that survivor. But I loved, and I had heard this on one of your videos where you're saying, hey, I'm not a survivor, I'm a warrior.
Yeah.
Like, take your power back and fight.
Correct.
I think it's so good and important to keep in mind.
Every girl that I've ever met in the U.S., maybe there was a few that didn't say this, maybe I didn't know them long enough, but they all said that they've gotten raped. Every single woman. Oh, this guy raped me at a party. Oh, this guy raped me here. This guy raped me there. Everybody got raped. It almost felt like it was a trend. Because the truth is, they want to victimize themselves and say, this happened to me. Oh, I used to get beat by my ex. Oh, I used to get beat by my father, domestic, this. It's not true. A lot of it is in their head.
Yeah.
But they want to give a story so people will feel bad for them. They're coming from a bad place instead of coming from a place of power.
Yeah.
Own it.
And also, if this has happened to you, then okay, that's fine. But what are you going to do about it? How are you going to deal with that pain? Instead of being a victim, you can help others. You can become a warrior with all that strength.
Of course.
Yeah.
You want to overcome it if it did happen. You want to overcome it and then go help other women overcome it who have been through that. Go volunteer. You could be strong. Anybody could be strong. The question is internally, do you feel like you want to be strong? Or do you just feel like sitting on the couch being weak, crying about your life?
Yeah.
I think men should not do that for sure. Men have to toughen up.
I think men and women have to toughen up, but more men.
And that's why I have Fearless too, because in Fearless, it's like, if I can make you fearless, I can make you limitless. I can make you do anything. Just like I told you in the beginning, people tippy-toe through life to make it to death safely. That's not how it should be played out. You can't play it safe. You're not going to make it out alive anyways. What are you playing it safe for? People don't want to take loans to do businesses. People don't want to take loans to do real estate. Most of the people out there that do real estate, they do poor real estate. And the difference between the person who does poor real estate and rich real estate is one person says, oh, there's an apartment building. I see that condo. It's $100,000. I'm going to put the $100,000 that I saved in the past 7 years and buy it. If the market doubles, I double my money. Then comes the rich person and says, well, it's 100 grand. I'm going to put $10,000 down. When it doubles, I 11 times my money. Big difference. So he could get 10 of those for the same 100K because he's fearless. He's not worried about taking a loan.
Yeah.
But that person lives it safely. What about till the time that it doubles? Then you have inflation.
Yeah.
The dollar loses value. When it loses value, what did you really make on it? But that's the difference between the rich people who like to take risk and the poor people who just, they actually live poorly.
Want to play it safe.
And they want to play it safe, but why? Because their parents did and their grandparents did.
Yeah.
And it comes from your family.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So if you got a loan and you're thinking, oh, it's a 5-year loan, you're thinking about 4 years from now, do you know you're going to be alive tomorrow? No, you don't. We don't know. So nothing is certain. It's like everyone in regular jobs, you know, just an 8 to 5 job rather than getting a sales job or anything that can actually push your limits.
Correct.
And that's done because they feel like it's safe. But in reality, you can always get kicked out of that job. So it's never safe.
People will go and work a 9 to 5, an hourly rate. Let's say you make $20 an hour. You're the best person on the team. Within 90 days, they'll reevaluate you and maybe give you $1 or $2 of a raise. If you work in sales, sales is the best job on the planet because everything around us is sold. Everything. Everybody, even the best salespeople want to buy something. So if you're working in sales, you have to count on yourself.
Yeah.
But people don't count on themselves. They count on others. They're like, okay, a 9 to 5, that's going to pay me the end of the month. I know it's going to cover my bills. Then they go home and they rest. They eat chips, they smoke weed, they watch movies. Yeah. Your 9 to 5 is what's going to keep you safe. Great. What do you do after 9 to 5? Because there's so many other hours that you could be using to learn something. I know kids that are 16 doing e-commerce and making $60,000, $70,000 a month. I know kids who are doing crypto who are making 50 grand a month. I know kids who are 20 who are buying every year 10 to 15 homes and flipping real estate and making $1 to $2 million per year.
Yeah.
These are kids, but these are kids that are fearless. And these are kids that used to play video games, and the video game and reality almost seems the same to them. Like, okay, I could take that, put that here, take that
like
here, move money here. Awesome.
Like a Monopoly game.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it's like. That's what life is like. Monopoly.
Yes, exactly.
Basically. And one thing is, after that, did you go to college?
I didn't know. I was a high school dropout. Then a friend of mine told me, hey, Ben, you should actually finish high school. And said, what? I'm not going to go back to high school. He said, well, you should get your GED. So at the age of 22, I went and got my GED. It was like 5 tests. I passed them all the same day. And my buddy was like, bro, you're R smart. I'm telling you. And so I got my GED. It's sitting somewhere in my room, but I never used it. Whenever I show up with a nice car or a nice watch or a nice suit, nobody asks me of my degree.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows who I am. Everywhere that I go, people know me, especially the people that I did business with. And now, obviously, people know me because they see me on social media. Yeah. But the truth is, nobody ever cares about your degree. If you're a doctor, I don't care. You could sell for me. You could work for me.
Yeah.
You could manage my business. You could work with me. You could bring something to the team. You could be my partner. Yeah. That's how it works. When you do big business, it drives me crazy that people go and learn business in university from a business professor who never owned a business. He makes $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
$50,000 a year.
Yeah.
I make $50,000 in a day if I feel like it.
For sure. And I think now technology has also put us in that space where everyone understands that school is really like using YouTube. Like if you really need to learn, go on YouTube, go on Google, and you'll find everything that you're interested in.
YouTube has everything. I had a solar company. My guys learned how to install solar from YouTube.
Nice.
Install solar from YouTube. They became electricians from YouTube. YouTube has it all.
Yeah.
You don't really need to go to school. Everything they teach you in school, see this guy right there, he knows. He knows. Exactly. You go to school, what do you learn? History, that's great because you don't want it to repeat itself. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, what are you truly learning? You're learning to become another sheep in the system of the Matrix. And you're stuck in it. Yeah. The Matrix was not a movie, it was a documentary. And right now, more movies are coming out that are documentaries. It's real life.
About the world we live in.
The world we live in, the end of the world, the Civil War, all of these things. This is going to be real life.
So when you went from finishing high school, getting your GED.
I dropped out at 15, then I continued my life.
But how do you go from that to your patents?
So at the age of 17, I have to say, my dad is a brilliant man. Although he was very tough, he's probably the smartest person I've ever met in my life. This guy knows how to do everything, and he learned everything on his own. He was also a professional drummer in Israel. It was very well known. And knowing that my dad made it so big at such a young age and was a famous drummer and had businesses, I knew I could make it big as well because I felt like I was just as smart as he is. The only thing is, at the age of 17, because I was a troublemaker and I was fighting all the time, everywhere. When my mom got cancer and the doctors told us that she might not make it, I said to the doctors, if she doesn't make it, we're all not going to make it. And he looked at me and he said, "You're threatening me?" I said, "No, I'm literally threatening the whole world. Everybody's going down with my mom. We're all not going to make it." Thank God my mom made it. But at that time, I was reckless. I was very reckless, and I didn't care if it was 2 people or 5 or 10. I got into fights with so many people. At one time, I got jumped by like 40 guys. I didn't care. I didn't feel anything.
Is your mom the love of your life?
Yeah. 100%.
Good for you.
My mom was with me and stuck by me through everything. And I stick by my mom through everything. And after that, my dad kicked me out of the house. He was like, "You can't stay here." He called the cops. The cops came over. They said, "Look, you can't really tell us to take him because you're going to have to bring him back to the house because he's 17. But then I told my dad, I said, "I'm going to leave. I have no reason to stay here. If you're not happy to see me, that's fine." And you're right. I am a troublemaker. Let me go find myself. And I did. I slept in my car. Then I slept at the park. Then I slept sometimes at friends' houses. But I couldn't tell my friends' parents that I was homeless. So I was just pretending to come and sleep here one day, there one day. But I slept mainly at the Hazeltine Park. And that was for a few months. And then I met a guy and I started to work. And then I continued to become a troublemaker because money wasn't really good. I was making like $7 an hour with this guy. So I left very shortly after. And eventually I ended up going to jail. When I went to jail, I did my 19th birthday in jail from 18 to 19.
What did you do to go to jail?
So I did a lot of things.
But what was the one thing that they got you for?
So the one thing that they got me for was fighting really bad in the middle of the street, and it was horrible. It was really bad. Some guy really got hurt.
Oh, man.
So when they arrested me, I didn't really have lawyers, and it was a problem, big problem. Yeah. I was supposed to spend 5 years in there, and then I ended up, they gave me about a year, and then they let me out early because the jails were packed. And it was from God. I went back to see the judge, and the judge was like, "If I will let you go today, will I ever see your face again?" She was Jewish. I was Jewish. I was like, "You're never going to see my face again." She let me out, and I said, "That's it. I'm not coming back here." And I had the cellie. I wanted to get some tattoos on my fingers of the 3 dots, my crazy life. And he was like, "You're not coming back here. You're not going to do this. You're 18 years old. You're going to leave out of here in about a year. You're not coming back." Charles Smith. I'll never forget that guy. Best cellie ever. He was 46 years old, got 30 to 40 years in jail for a very bad crime that he said he didn't commit. But these people, they don't have, he was such a nice guy that when he sits down with you and he tells you the story, you're like, wow, I really believe him that he didn't do anything. It was so nice. It was like a father to me. And nobody wanted to take me in when I was in jail. It was only the blacks. All the African Americans, they take all the other because I'm Jewish. So then I started to do Shabbat dinners with them, and I would bring the rabbi, and everybody would pray, and all the African American guys with yarmulkes on, and it was great. I actually had a really good time because in jail, I've learned how to speak to people. I've realized I'm so good with people. But before I went to jail, I didn't want to speak with people. I just wanted to fight with them. And any person that would look at me the same way my dad looked at me, with a strong eye, I would beat them.
Yeah.
Because I think that they're trying to bring me down to suppress me like my dad. When I went into jail, I realized that all the people in jail, as much as it sounds bad, they're all super nice.
Yeah.
And they're all loving and caring, and I was the youngest one. And it was just a really nice experience for me. I realized there that if I could get a bunch of 40, 50-year-olds to sit with me and learn Hebrew and learn the Torah and wear yarmulkes and start eating kosher,
You could take over the world.
I can take over the world. That's it. And just like Charles said, you're not coming back here. I didn't go back there. I got out, and after that, I met a guy. I worked for him for a few months. I told him, I don't want any pay. I just want to work for you. And after working for him for a few months, he made me a business partner.
Mm. And that's how the patent...
No, I worked with him, and that was doing air conditioning. We had one of the largest air conditioning companies in all of San Fernando Valley, all the way to the Ventura County. Then we opened up San Francisco. And from there, we opened up and merged into construction.
That's a humbling job, air conditioning, right?
Yes.
Because you go up there.
I used to work in
isn't
the
it
attic.
Crazy.
It was nuts.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I've seen the biggest people, like chubby people that work in AC getting up there, and it's crazy.
HVAC was a hard job, especially when we were doing air ducts and insulation replacement.
For sure.
I would go up there with a suit on. It's 150 degrees. You're dying. You're sweating. You got masks. You got goggles. You come out of there. You're itching for 3 days. But the next day, you got to go back to work.
Yeah. Especially in the summertime.
It's
Crazy.
horrible.
I know.
Horrible. And then I did that for a few months. And then after that, he made me a business partner. And I started to do sales. And the first sale that I did, I blew it out the window. I did so well. Everybody wanted to buy from me. And I changed my name. I didn't have my regular name. I said, I'm going to go into this act of this super, super sweet guy. So every home that I went into, I would wear glasses. I would wear a little hat on top, shave my face completely, and speak very nicely. Hi, how you doing? How are you? Oh, it's so good to meet you. And I was so sweet and cute. Nobody wanted me to leave. I would have lunch with the clients, dinners with clients, coffee, whatever I wanted. I realized people love me.
Yeah.
But I was just playing the 5-year-old Ben, the really sweet Ben, the authentic Ben,
Yeah.
the one that wasn't hurt by a father, the one that wasn't hurt by people who laughed at him because he didn't speak the language. Or I came to the United States with really nice tight clothes and they called me gay, and I had long hair and they'd pull my hair and just mess with me.
Yeah.
So I had to fight back. Fighting back made me who I am. But at the same time, the authentic Ben always wanted to come out.
Yeah. And I love this because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are watching this and have either themselves or family members that have gone through this, or some kids are going through this nowadays, you know?
They do.
And parents think, oh, where are they going to end up at? And it's all about choices, and it's all about who you surround yourself with. It's about having a strong mother and having that love for your mother that keeps you going. I'm pretty sure at certain points you didn't want to disappoint her, right?
Of course, of course.
So that helps you to continue to move forward.
My mom cried a lot. My mom cried every time I left the house. My mom didn't know if I was going to come back.
Yeah.
You know, I got a weapon at a very young age. I was saying to myself, it is what it is. I'm going to protect myself. But the truth is, if I look back now, I was looking for it. At that point in time, when I was 16, 17, I was looking for problems.
Yeah.
I was a menace to society. And then that changed. Because then I realized the world isn't bad. Nobody wants to go against me. So now I don't fight with anybody. I smile at the world will smile back at me. If I'm bitter at the world will be bitter at me.
Yeah.
That's the truth. If you walk out there and you have a smile on your face, what is somebody going to tell you, what are you smiling at? Well, I'm smiling at you. You look beautiful today.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
They say that life is a mirror, not a window.
Correct.
So you're looking at people, and if you see the best in them, then you're seeing the best in yourself,
Of course.
which is strong. So how did you get to getting your patent?
So after a few years, we started to do real estate and stuff like that. And I've learned something from reading books. I learned that Dali, Salvador Dali, which was a painter, and Thomas Edison, they used to sit down on a chair. When they sit down on a chair, they darken the room. When they darken the room completely, you will fall asleep very quick, but they would hold metal balls or keys, and they would put metal plates around them. And when you fall asleep really quick when everything is dark, they will fall out of your hands. When they fall out of your hands, you wake up. When you wake up, you come back, because when you fall asleep, your soul leaves the body. It goes to a different world. When you wake up, it comes right back. When you go to a different world, you go to a place called the quantum realm. That's where you could grab ideas and bring it into the reality and make them into the physical reality, really bring them to life. And that's how they would bring ideas, because when you wake back up, you're in a state called theta, which is hypnosis, and then you turn into a state called alpha, which is you're ready to work.
How long do you stay in theta?
You could pull it about 15 minutes if you don't really wake yourself up.
Yeah.
But you wake up, and then he would start painting whatever ideas he would grab from there. So I had a major car accident, and I had almost like a broken back. And they wanted me to get a surgery for my back. And the surgery was going to be 50-50 if you could walk or not. So I started looking into that, and I invented a product, and I sold it to a very big company. And thanks to my buddy, rest in peace, he took me over there, and he said, "Look, let me introduce you." He was in the medical world. He introduced me to all these people, and a very big company bought my patent. And
What kind of product was it?
So it was a back product for back injuries and surgeries and stuff. But they told me that I personally could never speak about it, of what it is, because they invented it now. They purchased it for me. So now they own it, and they invented it. I have nothing to do with it.
They own the idea.
They own the idea.
That's crazy.
And if I ever do, then I have to return my money back. Yeah. So ever since then, I retired. And I've been traveling the world for 10 years now, going everywhere. And because I didn't speak of what I did for a very long time, everybody thought I was a drug dealer. My friends, my family, they're like, "What is it that you do? What do you do? How are you buying all these houses every year, building houses, doing so many big things? You stop working. You're going all over the world. You've been to 80 countries. What is it that you're doing? You're driving the nicest cars. You got a Rolls Royce, you got a Bentley, you got a Lambo, you got 2 Lambos. What is it? Like, what is it that you do?" My grandma all the time, she's like, "What is it that you do? What is it that you do?" And finally now, after 10 years, I said, well, I'm going to go to social media, and I'm going to speak about my success. And hopefully I can make other people feel the confidence that they could do it as well.
Yeah.
Because all you need is to think about an idea that 1 million people need, and you become a millionaire overnight. That's all.
Which can or is a lot of times these ideas develop through things that you might need. No, and it's like you're looking for something desperately and you can't find it, and you're like, "Oh, let me do that."
For me, I was very desperate to find something, and then I invented something, and then I ended up not even doing the surgery. Yeah.
Because, wow.
I fixed my back by myself.
That's crazy.
So I took enough time to not get the surgery done and look into more things. And then I brought a doctor from Arizona after a few years who fixed my back with ozone. And I started to sit in the ice. I started to do breathing patterns. And I learned how to do the breathing by Wim Hof. And I learned so much about the body that I realized that the body could repair itself. You actually don't need surgeries.
Yeah.
So most of the doctors don't even know what they're talking about. They literally don't know what they're talking about. But the thing is, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? They're not going to stop, but it's not unlawful or illegal for them to keep you sick for 30 years when they could make you healthy in a week.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. They fix something and mess something else up.
They give people, look, I don't know if you know this, but for example, my mom had cancer. Cancer is a $90 billion industry. $90 billion. Do you think they're going to stop cancer? No. The second somebody came out with the way to get rid of cancer, he was gone.
Yeah.
Can't find him anymore because they're not going to stop it. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's not unlawful. It's not illegal for them to keep you sick for 30 years when they can make you healthy within a week. But ever since the insurance companies went into that, then now it's a monopoly. Now it's the medical, the Western medicine, all these pills.
It's a huge business.
Huge
Business.
It's the biggest business.
Ben, there's also sexual energy, right?
Of course.
Which empowers not only men but also women, which turns into, if you're not having intercourse, but if you're not having orgasms and you keep them to yourself, then you can send that strength to your creativity.
Correct. Semen retention.
Semen retention. But for women, and I read it on, I think it was Think and Grow Rich. But it's, yes, sexual transmutation, and it's the same thing for women. So if you're trying to create, let's say at a certain point I was writing screenplays, right? If you don't let that go, then you can send that power to your being and be able to be a little more creative.
Correct. There is a lot of energy that goes into orgasm. You lose a lot of energy. Actually, they did a big study that most men today die out of heart attacks. And the reason is it takes so much power and energy for a man to ejaculate.
Wow.
So when it goes up and it gets very, very strong, it's very difficult on their heart. And that's why most men die out of heart attacks. The truth is, if you look at the strongest people in the world, physically and mentally, they're monks. They live in China. They're in the mountains. They don't go with women. They're completely alone.
Yeah.
These monks are the strongest people on the planet.
Yeah. And do you yourself, when you have a partner, right, do you take some time, you say, I'm not going to do this for a week or a month, or do you not care when you have a partner?
So when you have a partner, and I only would have a partner that I'm going to marry, I'm not going to just have any partner. For me, wasting time and energy with somebody who is not somebody you're going to spend the rest of your life with, it's not meant for me. I'm just not that kind of a person. I feel like it's a waste of time. I have so many things I need to do throughout the day. If I have a schedule and I put you in my schedule, you have to be that woman that I'm building something with. For me, you're going to be an asset, not a liability.
Yeah.
So a woman that I then have to break up with and not see anymore, build some feelings, then let go, it's a liability.
Yeah.
I have to recover as well, right? Because we connect. When people make love, sex is sacred energy exchange. You're connecting. If you're not connecting, then you're disconnecting. Women that have been with too many men, they lose the ability to bond. They get to a point where they can't bond anymore.
Right.
Especially women. Men believe that they do it for the hunt, because men, all of history, were with a lot of women. The highest power men, they had many women. The truth is, if you're a man who wants to become very, very big, successful, you weren't born to be a king. Nobody handed me a kingdom. I have to build it on my own. If I have to build it on my own, that's a lot of work. Do I have time to give attention to more than one person? No, I don't have that time. I need one person who learns me completely, who I know them completely, who we intertwine, we integrate together, and we build this kingdom together.
Yeah.
And that takes time.
So once you have this exchange, then it ends up being worth it, because instead of keeping this to yourself, when it's with that person that you want to share the rest of your life with, or you plan to do that, then you still get that extra creativity because you're at a good place.
So in Judaism, we don't touch the woman when she has her period. So the time of the month. We don't touch her a few days before and a few days after, because she has to go through the cleanse.
Oh, well.
Now they found out that the women who do that in the time of the month get cancer, cervix cancer. Why? Because you're not supposed to do that. Yeah. But then they look at Judaism and they go, holy smokes, they told them that 4,000 years ago. And now they're finding out now that it's bad for you. So you're supposed to let the woman cleanse. She cleans herself, and that's the time for me to be alone.
Yeah.
That's the time for me to take time for myself.
That makes sense.
But if, I'm with somebody, I can't just not make love to them. But also making love as a man, I think that you're able to control yourself well enough that you don't have to go.
Absolutely.
Right? You go every few days. So you kind of keep your strength in, and then at the same time, after that, you just
good for you.
One more time.
That takes some mental strength, which is amazing, especially when you have a beautiful girlfriend.
Yeah, she's the most amazing one. She's the best.
Ben, and so what would be just a few 2-3 tips that you can give men to step into that king energy and to be able to protect whoever's going to be their queen?
So it's very easy. If you would think about it, there's a great quote. Weak men create tough time. Tough time creates strong men. Strong men create easy time. Easy time create weak men. That's a cycle. Right. In order to stop that cycle, you have to push yourself to the highest of limits. Your physicality and your mentality are linked. You can't put your brain and your body apart. Your business partners, they'll be there together forever. At the end of the day, you have to train your body and push it. You have to train your mind. Learn, educate yourself. Even if you don't go to school, I never let school get in the way of my education. You always want to learn something. Every day I learn something. Yeah. Every day I teach myself something. But every day I push my body to the highest of limits. And when you do, there is a gene called hormesis that kicks into the body. It reverses aging. So I sit in the ice, I reverse aging. I go for sprints, I reverse aging. I train extremely hard, I reverse aging. And you become stronger and stronger. The stronger your body feels, the stronger your mind is going to feel. And vice versa. So if you get them both very strong, then you'll think like a strong man. You'll be able to manage your life. Time management is extremely important. People lose time throughout the day, but you can never gain time back. Yeah. People have problems. Oh, if I lost money, I lost it all. No. If you lost money, you lost something. You lost your health, you lost another something. But if you lose your character, your integrity, and your pride as a man, you lose it all. Character is very, very important. And if men are going to be stronger, women will go back into the feminine energy, and we're going to have families and beautiful families just like we used to before. Yeah. And you know who keeps the best families today?
Who?
Latin people.
Oh, sí, claro.
They are the happiest people on the planet, and I said it many times before. They are so happy, even if they don't make much money. Even if it is a hard day and they're working nonstop and doing construction, working the attic.
You know what I think part of it is, especially, and I think it's the culture, but even more so when you come to this country as an immigrant, because you have to survive together. I'm extremely close to my family, and it's because we had to go through tough times together. We had to get stronger together.
You see all the Latin people at the parks every single weekend doing barbecues.
Yeah.
20, 30, 50 people, one family. You guys are all about family. You don't care if you have a 2-bedroom apartment, they're going to have 6 kids. Absolutely. Why? Because it's all about the family. Yeah. And you guys are still the only ones. You guys are the strongest ones who believe in Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
You guys strongly believe in Christ and God. Yeah. You guys have God inside of you. That's why you guys are all nice people. Yeah. Every single one of you.
I'm like, yeah.
All my employees throughout all my years, they were all either from Guatemala, from Mexico, from El Salvador, from Spain, everywhere. Latin people, every time they're taking a break, they're eating calm. Instead of taking a break for an hour, they take it only for 30 minutes. The second they get in the attic, they throw on mariachi inside of the attic. It's super hot. It's 150 degrees and they're singing in there.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? The energy is so important. Yeah. And one thing I could tell everybody at home is don't forget that energy, vibrations, and frequencies are the most important things on this planet. Be careful who you share them with.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Be careful who you share them with. Ben, what is the thing or things that you've had to quit in order to become successful?
There was so much. All my friends were partying. I didn't go to parties. All my friends were dating women. I wasn't dating women. I had to avoid the women at all times. All my friends were doing drugs. All my friends were troublemakers. All my friends went traveling the world. I didn't. I stayed in one place. I did not move. I counted every single hour, and I made every single hour count. There's so many hours in a week. It's 168 hours in a week. I even tell people, if you wake up at 5 a.m. and everybody wakes up at 7, you got 2 hours on them. In a year, that's 720 hours.
Yeah.
Extra that you have to become the next big version of yourself. So I quit all of that.
Yeah.
My time was working out, food, gym, making sure that I get to business, learn, educate myself. I sat by myself so much, but then I found out the most important conversation I've ever had was with myself. Being by myself, I found God. And finding God, I found who I am and what my purpose is. And then you find ideas. And then you just pass everybody. So you take 5 years of your life and you live those 5 years like nobody would, so you can live the rest of your life like nobody can. And I took my life to the whole new level. And today I could do anything. It's done. I don't need to work anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided I'm going to come on social media. I'm going to teach others to step away from the world, ghost the world for a year, count every hour, and see the big change that you're going to make.
That sounds powerful. That's a lot of time and a lot of time that you're putting a lot of thought into every step. Like you say, if you put yourself secluded for a year, but you count every step that you're taking, everything matters, then of course you're going to have a big difference in your life.
Of course. Every superhero in every movie. Think about it. He got beat, then he disappeared, came back as a hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he was on top of the world. Every emperor left, fought the world. Alexander the Great went and battled everywhere from the age of 16. What did he have inside of him that others now don't? Why do people get offended if I'm going to call you a name when back in the day, they would battle to the death at the age of 13, 14, 15?
Yeah.
If you could go back to that time and remember who you are, who you truly are, because when I ask you who you are, who are you? Who are you?
I'm a powerful woman.
But who are you?
As far as what?
Just who are you? When somebody says who you are, normally people will say their name,
Oh, yeah.
right? But the name is just
Sarah.
the word. First and last name are 2 words that your parents gave you, but they're not who you are.
Right.
When you say, I'm going to work, is it Sarah going to work or is it me? And when you say my leg, my arm, is it Sarah's leg and arm or is it my leg, my arm? Who is me? So you have to go into that same place in the quantum realm, sit down, relax completely, relax your whole body. Don't flex any muscle. Breathe and try to find out who you are. When you'll find out who you are, you'll find out what your purpose is. When you'll find out your purpose, you'll have a goal. When you have a goal, you have a target. And you have something in the brain called the RAS, the Reticulating Activating System. That determines what you notice and what you don't notice. So if you have a target, you have a goal, the RAS kicks in and you're going to hit it. But unless you find out who you are, you can't maximize your own potential. So some people tell me, but I'm a millionaire. You could be a billionaire. Well, I'm a billionaire. You could be Elon Musk. Come on, you could do better. You could always do better.
Yeah.
But you have to find out who you are.
I love it. And remember, guys, that Ben has a 8-week program called Fearless, that if you want to join, you're hearing how powerful his teachings will be. You can find him where, Ben? Where can they find you?
So mainly people interact with me on social media, but on Instagram. So it's king_Azoulay. If you want to write that down in there,
I
that would
will
be great.
definitely have it in there.
And then the program is called Fearless. It's 8 weeks. It's normally a group of 50 to 100 people. It's an 8-week program, once a week on Zoom for 1 hour. And after that 8 weeks, if somebody feels like he needs me for a little bit longer, they could hire me on a personal level, so one-on-one.
Yeah.
And the group, they get also on a group chat, and they also get to go on my app. Some people have apps that teach businesses. Mine is called The Kingdom. I have not released it to the public yet, but we teach real estate, the way rich people do real estate. We teach crypto, e-commerce, drop shipping, business, taxes, you name it, it's all in there. Yeah. It really gives the breakdown. If, let's say, a 13-year-old kid gets into this program or gets onto the app, within 2 years, he'll understand how to operate exactly like a multimillionaire.
Yeah. So you'll have no excuses not to be successful once you speak to Ben. I asked about that. I was like, okay, well, once you're done with the 8 weeks, what happens then? Because you feel like, okay, I've gotten to this place. What do I do then? And so it becomes stronger every time. The coaching becomes stronger.
And I push them daily. And I push them daily to the point that they tell me. I've had guys that are military, Navy SEALs, Marines. They tell me, and they also have testimonials. They said, I've never been through something so intense, but so great for myself.
Well, if you're going to learn how to be a millionaire, you might as well learn it from someone that has already done it. It's like you were saying, if a professor is teaching me something that he has no idea practically about, then what's the point?
Correct. I'm also going to come out right now with my own products that are going to be for working out.
Ooh.
So because I was making a lot of money as a young man, but also working out at all times, I decided I was going to make something for myself, which I never released it to the market. I've only done it for myself. I paid somebody a lot of money. We brought a chemist. I built this amazing mix for pre-workout, post-workout, fat burners, but I used it only for myself. And everybody keeps asking, what is it that you take to look so good? So I decided I'm going to come out with a product line, and it's going to be supplements.
We're going to have you back, Ben, because I was left with 1,000 questions. And we can definitely, he's won medals with bodybuilding. Correct. So we'll definitely have you on another podcast.
Awesome. Happy to come back.
But I thank you so much for being part of this. This is actually the first one in person because I hold all of them online.
No way.
So you're my first in person. So you're kicking in this new phase, new era of the podcast. So I appreciate you guys very much.
Beautiful. And it feels so much better, right? Because when you sit with somebody, you feel the energy.
Yes.
It's definitely much better than online.
Yeah. But a lot of people are out of town, so things happen. So
I drove an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's why. Thank you so much. And we've learned a lot. And I hope that people can relate to your story and reach out so that you can help them out as well.
Everybody could relate. Everybody been through hard times, tough times. Just remember, when it's a hard day or a tough day, it's just a character building day.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us on another episode of Successful Quitters. My name is Sara Nunez Bee, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right.